Zek's Big Adventures with His Friends. Written by Zülal Özden Çiçek. Illustrated by Buse Arkaç. A note to parents and young readers. Welcome to the wonderful world of Zek and his friends. The Zek's Big Adventures series includes charming stories to spark children's imaginations and to introduce them to the pleasure of reading. Through these pages, young readers will join Zek the Hedgehog on a journey of self-discovery, learning that being kind and staying true to oneself are the greatest adventures of all. As you explore the forest together, these stories aim to celebrate friendship, encourage sharing, and show that even the prickliest moments can be turned into joy with a little help from our friends. We hope these adventures inspire laughter, curiosity, and a lifelong love for stories. Happy reading! Meet the characters. Zek the Hedgehog. Zek is a brave and kind hedgehog. He loves to explore the forest and helps his friends whenever they have a problem. Bella the bird. Bella is a cheerful bird. She loves to fly high in the sky and sings happy songs for her friends. Max the raccoon. Max is a clever raccoon. He is very good at solving tricky puzzles and finding fun things to do. Lily the bunny. Lily is a beautiful bunny. She is gentle, kind, and always brings joy to the group. Zek and his new friends. Zek was a little hedgehog. He lived under a big oak tree. His home was cozy and warm. Every day, Zek watched the other animals play. They ran and jumped. Zek felt sad. He stayed in his home. "I'm too prickly," he thought. "Nobody wants to play with a hedgehog." One day Zek saw a bird. She was on the ground. Her wing was hurt. She could not fly. Zek was very kind. He picked her up carefully. He made a soft bed for her, and the little bird smiled gratefully at Zek. The next day, Bella the bird came back. She brought her friends. There was a bunny and a raccoon. "Hello, Zek," they said. "We want to play with you." Zek was surprised. "But I'm prickly," he said. "We do not care," said Lily the bunny. "We like you just the way you are," said Max the raccoon. Zek was so happy. He finally had friends. They all played together under the big oak tree. Zek had never felt so happy before. Every day in the forest was filled with laughter, games, and new adventures. But soon a very special day was coming. It was time for Zek's first birthday party. Zek's first birthday party. Zek was so excited. Tomorrow was his birthday. "I hope my friends will come," he said with a smile. He made little leaf cards and gave them to his friends. At home, Zek cleaned his den. He picked berries, baked honey cookies, and even made a tiny crown from flowers. The next day, Zek waited. "Will they come?" he whispered. Then, knock, knock. His friends were here. Lily brought a carrot cake, and Max had nuts and a shiny box. Bella sang a funny birthday song. They played forest games, danced under the trees, and laughed all day. Zek gave each friend a tiny friendship stone. "Because friends are gifts too," he said. That night Zack looked at the stars. "My spikes, my hearts, my friends! I'm lucky just as I am." A day at the park. Zack woke up early. The sun was shining through his window. "It is a perfect day for the park," he said happily. He packed his Red Bull and a small snack. He skipped all the way to the park. At the park he saw his friends, Lily the bunny, Max the raccoon, and Bella the bird. "Hi everyone," said Zack. "Let's play." First they tried the swings. Lily went high. Max pushed Bella gently. Then they ran to the slide. "Ready, steady, go!" shouted Max. They slid down. "Whee! That was fast!" shouted Zack. Next they found the sandbox. They built towers and a big sandcastle together. Bella asked, "Can I use your shovel?" Zack held it tight. He knew he didn't have to share his favorite shovel, and that was okay. He thought for a moment. He looked at his big sandcastle and then at Bella. He realized that playing alone was not nearly as fun as building together. Zack smiled and handed the shovel to Bella. "Here," he said. "Let's build together." Rainy day fun. Zack woke up with a big smile. "Today we can play outside," he said, jumping out of bed. He grabbed his ball and his rain boots. "I can't wait to see my friends." But when he opened the door, drip, drop, drip, drop. "Oh no, it's raining." Zack sighed. Big clouds covered the sky. "No park today," he said sadly. Just then his friends arrived. Lily the bunny, Max the raccoon, and Bella the bird, all wet and giggling. "Can we play?" Zack asked. "We brought games and books," they replied. "Let's make today fun." They built a big blanket fort in the living room. "It's our secret clubhouse," said Lily. Then they put on costumes from the dress-up box. Zack was a pirate, Max was a robot, and Bella was a rainbow bird. "Let's have an adventure," said Zack. In their imagination, they sailed on a pirate ship. They found treasure under the kitchen table. "Gold coins!" they cheered. They laughed and crawled out from under the table. "Let's make paper boats," said Lily. They folded paper boats and ran outside, jumping into puddles. They placed their boats in the water and watched them sail. "Mine is the fastest!" shouted Max. The rain slowed down and the clouds started to move. Zack smiled. "We had the best day ever in the rain," he said. "Rainy days can still be fun. With friends and imagination, anything is possible." They laughed together as their boat sailed away. Zack goes camping. One sunny morning, Zack the little hedgehog woke up. "I want to go camping," he said happily. He packed his small bag with a blanket and a flashlight. He carried a small bright lantern. Zack skipped to the big tree. Lily the bunny, Max the raccoon, and Bella the bird were there. "Hi, Zack, let's go," they said. They all walked deep into the forest. It was very quiet. Soon they found a beautiful clearing near a small stream. "Let's put the tent here," suggested Zack. It was a good flat spot. "Let's work together," said Max. They all unrolled the tent. Zack held the fabric, Max pushed the poles into the ground, Lily used a stone to hammer the stakes, and Bella helped from the top. Tap, tap, pull. The tent was ready. "It's our camping home!" cheered Lily. When the sun went down, they gathered some dry sticks. Soon they had a beautiful warm campfire. The campfire was warm and bright. The best part arrived. They all picked up short sticks. Zack had a bag of soft, white marshmallows. All the friends put a marshmallow on their stick and held it over the warm campfire. Toasty, warm, and sweet. They ate the toasty, sweet marshmallows. They laughed and told stories. The stream sang its soft song nearby. When it grew dark, they all crawled inside their cozy tent. Zack put his lantern in the middle. "This is the best camping day ever," he whispered, looking at his friends. "Oh, good night, Zack," yawned Lily. Camping was special because they were all together. Big surprise! Zack was coloring at home when the phone rang. It was Bella the bird. "Did you hear? Max the raccoon is sick," she said. The friends met at Bella's house. They brought paper, markers, glue, and glitter. "We can make a big get well card," said Bella. Zack drew Max with a big smile. Lily added flowers. Bella wrote, "We miss you, Max." Then Zack said, "Let's make cookies too. Don't forget the hard sprinkles." "Let's call Max," said Bella. His mom answered. "Max is resting," she whispered, "but he will be happy to see your surprise." Now it was time to make the surprise box. While the cookies were baking, they decorated a box. They put the card, cookies, and a small toy inside. Zack carefully carried the box as the friends walked quietly to Max's house. "Thank you for coming," said Max. "You are the best friends ever." Zack smiled. Sick days are not so bad when friends care. The next day Max was feeling better. He ran to the park to give everyone a big hug. Zack discovers good manners. Zack, Lily, Bella, and Max decided to have a picnic in the park. They opened their basket. Inside were fresh sandwiches and cookies. Zack was very hungry. He grabbed a sandwich immediately and started to eat it quickly. Bella said gently, "Zack, let's wait a moment. There are some polite ways to eat. We call them table manners." Zack stopped and asked, "What do you mean?" Max smiled and explained the rules to his friends. Cleanliness, they washed their hands before they started. Patience, they waited until everyone had their food. Quiet chewing, they kept their mouths closed while they chewed. Magic words, they said please when they wanted something and thank you when someone helped them. Zack understood. He washed his hands and sat down at the table. He asked, "Lily, could you please pass the water?" Lily passed the water, and Zack said, "Thank you." He kept his mouth closed while he chewed his food. When they finished eating, everyone was delighted. Zack said, "It was much more fun to eat by following the table manners." From that day on, they always followed table manners when eating together. Zack and the Tall Tower. Zack loved his wooden blocks. One sunny morning, he decided to build a very tall tower. He picked up the blocks and stacked them one by one. The tower grew taller and taller, past his knees and up to his head. He was very proud of his work. Suddenly the floor shook just a little bit. Crash! The tower fell down. All the blocks went everywhere. Zack felt very sad. He crossed his arms and sighed. I am tired of this, he said. I cannot build a tall tower. I want to stop. His friend Bella walked over. She saw the blocks on the floor. She sat down next to Zack and said, It's okay to be sad, but do not give up. Making mistakes is how we learn. You did a good job before. You can do it again. Max and Lily came over to help. They said, We can help you find the best pieces. Zack took a deep breath. He looked at his blocks and decided to try one more time. This time he was very patient. He put the bigger, heavier blocks at the bottom to make the base strong. He carefully added the small blocks on top. This time the tower stayed up. It was tall, strong, and beautiful. Zack smiled and high-fived his friends. He learned that he did not have to be perfect on the first try. He just had to keep trying. Zack's happy forest. Zack, Bella, Max, and Lily played in the forest. They ate snacks and left their trash on the ground. Zack's grandma walked by. She pointed at the trash and said, The forest is our home. Let's keep it beautiful. The friends felt sorry. They picked up the trash and put it in a bin. The forest looked clean again. Zack and his friends smiled. They knew the forest was happy now. Zack learned a great lesson that day. We must always take care of our home because nature is a friend to everyone. Zack and his special gift. One day, Zack's friends showed off their talents. Bella flew high in the sky. Lily danced beautifully in the breeze. Max solved a very difficult puzzle. Zack sat under a tree. He felt sad. He thought, I cannot fly, I cannot dance, and I cannot solve hard puzzles. I have no special talent. Zack's grandma walked over and sat next to him. She saw his sad face and smiled. Zack, look at your friends, she said. They are happy because you are here. Your kindness is a special gift. You are a great listener and a very good friend. Zack thought about it. He realized that being a kind friend was important too. He stood up and cheered for Bella, Lily, and Max. Zack learned that day. Everyone has a different talent, and that is what makes us all special. Zack's Big Adventures series includes charming stories to spark children's imaginations and to introduce them to the pleasure of reading. Through Zack's journey, young readers will discover a world of friendship, kindness, and the joy of exploring together.